We have unlimited potential to create textures, and this is a lot of fun in Photoshop, playing with opacity shifts and blend modes, taking different images and building up textures. I just went to the Design Cuts quest, clicked on the first link to the Ultimate Textures, Patterns, and Backgrounds, and then scrolled down to Kim Clausen's examples here. And notice there's some color. Hey, that's where our beautiful blurs come in. And you notice nothing is really extreme. You don't want these colors to be really intense and oversaturated. That's why I had you guys back off. A lot of you are uncomfortable with the subtlety. You got to realize what the market is. Study the competition. See what they've come up with. Yeah, writing. Look at this. There are all kinds of opportunities. Scratches. Let's look real quick at a couple examples that I'm providing you. One's a picture of a fence, and some barbed wire here, and the other's a picture of a flower. And this flower has really shallow depth of field, so the focal point's right here. Nothing else is really important in this, but this colored background, if I hit Command 1 and take this up to full size, look at how the background becomes. You've got these cracks in it and these weird, what are these splotches? Well, I'll tell you right now that the cracks are one texture and these other splotches are a rock, an unattractive rock. But when you taken together with some beautiful blurs, make Command 0, and then swap over. And here, if I hit Command 0 and then Command 1 to zoom in, this is not as big a picture. This picture's been edited smaller than it came out of the camera. But we've got some texture on the fence post and on the barbed wire itself. But notice how this crack doesn't run through this. That's where you use a mask in order to show, in order to differentiate the background from the focal point of your image. Let's look really quick. Command 0 and hit F to get back into Photoshop so you can see the layer stack. And I'll provide these images for you, but let me just show you really quickly, and you can come back to the video, you can take notes. All I did on this blur layer, it's one of the beautiful blurs, overlay 69%. There's no magic to these numbers. I didn't even watch over here. I'm just pulling and dragging, trying to figure out what looks best. Overlay 28, overlay 41, and there's a mask on this one, like I said, to mask out. I didn't want these cracks running across this fence, so this mask blocks this texture. And then a dodge and burn layer. Command 0, and just so you can see, if I go ahead and option click on the background and then turn these on so you can see the subtle differences that are introduced by this layer stack. And I want you to understand, this is not magical. This is just one of an infinite number of possibilities that you could go through. So let's look again. I'll click on this, and this is overlay 57%. This one is at 100% because it worked at 100%. And notice this, the blur itself did not really affect that flower, but it had everything to do with the background. Certain colors work with certain images. And then this texture, notice it's soft light at 15%. It's really subtle, but look at how those cracks, and once again, there's a mask so that this crack didn't run through that stem. You just paint with black and white and soft or hard brush depending upon what you need. And then here on this one, a lot more detail. And this is really an ugly picture, this particular texture. Let me just show you really quickly. I'll turn the mask off by holding down Shift and clicking on it, and then take this from soft light to normal, and from 21% to 100%. And you see, this is hideous. It's just a picture of a rock, and it's got quartz running through it. It's probably a piece of granite from somewhere. It could be in Yosemite or Mammoth, who knows. But the point was, I looked at all these little subtleties and thought, hey, wouldn't that look cool as a texture? Let me undo to get back to my soft light and 21%. So you can see that it did add visual interest. And then the dodge and burn layer, which on top of everything else kind of brings our image back into focus. All right, I want you guys to have fun with this, but what I want you thinking about is back over here with what you'll be taking pictures at the zoo of. And I will give you far more instructions and far more examples this week, but the idea that scratches and weird jumbles that you'll see, stone around you at the zoo are actually useful, highly useful, and valuable. The answer is right there all around you. It's not inside the cage. Got it?